Bob Moeller, who I think of as a friend. This is Mike with Bethany Baptist Church. And you are with, if you wanted to explain a little bit about your ministry as well, just real quick.
Yes, I'm the president of For Better, For Worse, For Keeps Ministries, which has a vision statement to um, heal hearts and restore marriages in underserved communities. So we work a great deal in the city, we work a great deal with urban churches to try and equip them to strengthen marriages, and where there is a crisis in a marriage, to welcome them for intensive pastoral care for the restoration of their marriage. We believe very simply that if you heal two hearts, you restore a marriage. If you restore a marriage, well, then you save a family. If you save a family, you strengthen a church. If you strengthen a church, you begin to impact your community. And once you impact your community, you transform a culture. So we see one thing leading to another.
And I would say that you did make a difference in my wife and my family too. So I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
You did. And number two, you did write a book on revival.
Yes, I did. Many years ago, I wrote a book called The Stirring. And the premise of it was, what if a spiritual revival came to the city of Chicago in our modern era, in our present time? There have been revivals in the past under Dwight Moody and Billy Sunday and Paul Rader and others in the past where God moved in the city of Chicago. Billy Graham when he came through several times. But it's been a long time since we've seen a genuine stirring of God. And so I wrote a novel based on a pastor whose family is falling apart. His children are in serious trouble. He is too busy in his job to notice that their lives are in serious crisis, and his church is on the verge of division and split. There's other forces at work all around him, and it seems like a pretty hopeless situation, a formula for burnout or someone just being driven from ministry. But then in a winter snowstorm in January, a pastor comes who believes in prayer and revival, and there's always a strong link between those two. And he's preaching for this pastor while this pastor's on a leave of absence in Hawaii or something like that, and revival begins in that meeting, and it begins to reach a college campus nearby, and from there it begins to reach the churches in the city of Chicago, and ultimately it begins impacting downtown and the decisions that are even made in the glass castles and the skyscrapers, and it begins to roll back the forces of secularism, and it begins to roll back the divisions among churches and racial divisions and economic divisions, people who marriages that are divided. The revival begins to bring about reconciliation in a genuine sort of way, not superficial. And suddenly there's this power unleashed that no one knows what to do with, and no one can stop. So I wrote it somewhat as a suspense novel as well, if you can believe that. I wrote in an element of suspense to it, but trying to illustrate, I based it on my reading and research of historic revivals in America in different centuries and even overseas. What does revival look like? And I just took those principles and downloaded it into our current culture. And the book did well. It went into some reprinting in different places, and even now I continue to hear from people who read it and are impacted by it. So revival is a topic that I've been interested in for most of my lifetime or my ministry.
Yeah, well, thank you. I did buy it and I did read it and I really enjoyed it too.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.